What's up, everybody? It's a Monday, and we got a lot of news for you. The Undertaker is back for promotional purposes. Also, ratings are back, and people are going to argue about who won Friday night. But I can tell you who won Friday night. Apparently, it was wrestling. All right, so we'll talk about that. Plus, big injuries from free agents in the world of wrestling. The Rock. The Rock is on the docket today as well. Hit that like button. Share that link. We got a lot of big news. The Undertaker, yeah, we're talking about him here on today's Sportskeeda Wrestling top story of the day. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out, watch out, watch out indeed. The Undertaker, we'll talk about him today. The Rock and so much more. If you're with us live, go ahead and hammer that like button. Go ahead and tell us about any Halloween-y type things you were doing over the weekend that have some wrestling-related elements to it.
You said weenie.
Maybe drop a link to your Halloween costumes. I've seen a bunch of cool wrestling Halloween costumes here. I'm not alone. Rick Ucchino, not Rick Ucchipo, minus the mustache, Rick. Where did that go?
Sometimes you just gotta, start over.
Outmatching you with facial hair. I'll match both of us with facial hair is one Jeremy Bennett.
Yeah, I have yet to start over. As you
in Nebraska there. Jeremy has no neck. He just has beard.
Don't worry, everybody. Mustacheless Rick cannot harm you. Also, mustacheless Rick.
Yeah, we have the diehards with us saying, watch out, watch out, watch out. What's going on here?
Old Kev thought Rick was pulling off the Michael Cole there for a minute. But...
I thought he had a little bit of the soul patch, but no.
This would be a bad look for me.
A little bit of coleslaw there on the chin.
I will also never get rid of this ever, because then I'll look like Otis.
All right, let's bring it home, boys. Let's bring it home here. What's this news on The Undertaker? Throw up that graphic, and let's talk about The Undertaker being brought out for WrestleMania marketing season. Let's be specific about that. WrestleMania marketing season. News coming out today. WWE announcing a big on-sale event for WrestleMania in the greater Dallas, Texas area. Going to be at the home of the Cowboys there, AT&T Stadium. Another massive event here, as WWE will try to draw over 100,000 people in Texas coming up this spring. A huge, huge weekend. It is reportedly expected to be a two-night affair, and that has not been confirmed yet officially.
Oh, it has. It has.
That is official.
Yeah, WWE put that out last week that it's going to be.
That was last week with the pay-per-view schedule, right?
Yep.
So we're getting 2 nights of WrestleMania.
Getting a lot of Saturday pay-per-views next year, too.
A lot of Saturday pay-per-views, which some people are a fan of. People with
giving
kids
the fans what they want, baby. Yes.
Comedians who are trying to book Fridays and Saturdays not particularly a fan of it. Paul is here. He's the Undertaker on his way to back. I wonder if he has one last match possibly left him. Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt. So people, throwing it out there here.
There's a lot wrong with that sentence right there.
Yeah,
we'll get into it here. But the Undertaker is a part of one of the many, many names that'll be a part of this on-sale event, which will also include Big E, several tag teams, a lot of different people going to be appearing at this coming up here in the first week in November.
Yeah, okay. If they want to use him in this capacity to try to sell tickets, fine. Have at it. The only time I ever need to see him on my actual WWE programming again is when he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, which should be next year. In fact, I would put him in a Hall of Fame class all by himself. You don't need to trot out 7 other people. Just dedicate the entire Hall of Fame ceremony to the Undertaker. Could you imagine trying to do a ceremony like they did where they cut everybody's speeches down to 2 minutes, trying to do a 2-minute induction ceremony? Screw that.
No.
All to the dead man. He is the main and sole inductee into the 2022 WWE Hall of Fame class.
And don't get me wrong here, Jeremy. I think you could sell at an arena on an Undertaker Hall of Fame induction, right?
Oh yeah, easily. And this is more of a local thing for people that are in Dallas. People are not going to. Maybe people will travel.
Who knows? I mean, it's worth noting
to see Undertaker.
This is a big WWE WrestleMania on sale party Wednesday, November 10th. This will be at 5:30 local time in Texas. Those tickets go on sale, though, to the general public November 12th. Yeah. So if you're in the general Texas area, you're in Dallas, you're in Houston, and you really want WrestleMania tickets, this might be worth the trip up to get, and you get some autographs with some people. Rhea Ripley, Nikki Ash going to be there. Street Profits, Dewdrop, Dana Brooke, Big E, and The Undertaker.
And this is a smart thing. I know a lot of people come in from out of town, but let's be honest. The majority of those ticket sales for WrestleMania are going to come from people that are in Dallas or in the state of Texas. So this is a really, really smart move on WWE's part. Again, if they want to use The Undertaker in this kind of capacity to use him for PR purposes, hell, the guy was in Saudi Arabia and didn't appear on a Crown Jewel pay-per-view. If that shows you that Taker is never going to be used on WWE programming again, I don't know what else would. All right, so this is where WWE's role, The Undertaker's role in WWE is going to be moving forward, and that's what it should be. Even he has said now, look, I can't give you the Taker of old, and I don't want to leave you with bad impressions.
Yeah, and also the match he had with Styles, where they hit any weaknesses he had, was awesome. It was perfect. It was easily one of the best things WWE did during the pandemic era. It's the cinematic match that everything's kind of judged on.
Yeah,
you do those styles of matches, and it was well worth it, man. It was very, very special. I love it.
And that's the only time you're ever going to see Undertaker in any kind of wrestling capacity again is something like that. And then again, it's like, does the Undertaker want to do that again? That took 8 hours to film. Well, what we got, a 15-minute, 20-minute match with that AJ Styles thing. That took 8 hours to do. Does he want to do that again? It's hard to watch.
You had the big send-off for him inside the Thunderdome. Granted, it was inside the Thunderdome, and I know a lot
that needs to be in front of fans.
I get it, and that's where the Hall of Fame induction comes in.
Exactly.
But again, you look at the comment section, which again, sound off, guys. There's a lot of people who think differently than I do. Shocker. They want to see the Undertaker back for another match. Maybe they want him to have that one final match in front of people. But
but realistically, I don't think he can physically do it anymore.
I don't think he thinks he can physically do it
anymore. No, I just don't think it's physically possible for him. I mean,
you don't want to end up in the cycle that like Goldberg did, where Goldberg like literally is going out there and like, okay, I got this is going to be a good match. Now this one's going to be a good match. He actually put on a pretty decent match with Bobby Lashley in Saudi Arabia. He's got one left, so let's see if he can go out on a high note. But I'm ranting off on another subject.
Carlos joining us saying, good to hear about the dead man. Where is WrestleMania 38 next year? It's going to be in Dallas, Texas, in Arlington, Texas, to be specific, home of the Cowboys. Already some other wrestling events, not WWE related, are going to be there for WrestleMania week. Ring of Honor, who says they're going to have a Supercard of Honor in Texas, but they are shutting down until then. And there is some talk of Impact having some type of event that weekend in the greater Texas area, but no confirmation from them.
Yeah,
that is what we know right now. Undertaker, part of this big event, coming up Wednesday, November 10th. General on sale for WrestleMania is November 15th. This will be the first of many. Not just first of many, one of many stadium events that WWE is doing. They've expanded their stadium portfolio quite a bit. They're going to do every single one of their major 4 pay-per-views in almost all 3 of the 4 in a major stadium setting.
Plus Money in the Bank.
Plus Money in the Bank is going to be at the Allegiant Stadium in Texas. In Nevada. I'm all over the place here. I want to get to our next topic here before we lose you here. Engage with the show if you haven't done already. We do this every single weekday, Monday through Friday, the top story. Join us after Monday Night Raw with Vince Russo, bro. He has a new episode of Writing with Russo, I found very, very entertaining, in which he kind of clarified this whole Tony Khan from AEW, Eric Bischoff, war of words. And he clarifies what he really thinks this is. And it's quite entertaining. Go check that out. It's up on the channel now. Subscribe to our Sportskeeda YouTube channel up now as well. Dutch Mantell joining Rick and Sid on Friday nights after Rampage and Smackdown. We're going to talk about these Smackdown numbers here in a second.
Yeah, real quick, one final note on the Undertaker. He is from Houston, so if you're going to induct him solely into the Hall of Fame, doing it in Dallas, I know Dallas and Houston kind of bit apart, but at least his home state of Texas, would be a good spot to do it for sure.
He can't guarantee you're going to be in Houston in a few years.
No,
and do it now.
Yeah, this is going to be your first true Hall of Fame ceremony since 2019. So. It's almost everything lines up to have him as at least in the Hall of Fame, if not the sole member of the Hall of Fame. Like Rick said, they should do it that way. I don't know if they will.
And God bless everything holding together, and COVID doesn't continue to be an issue, and capacity limits and more vaccination. Hopefully people come around to that and all those different things, or quarantining and all those different things that people need to do. This is going to be an event you're going to have to get tested for. You're going to have to do all those different things you had to do to get in other things. But a hotter ticket. I think WrestleMania this year will be a hotter ticket just because people know they'll be able to get more tickets. There'll be a little bit more of a built-in demand there. Let's get into this other story here. AEW and WWE succeed in the cable ratings on Friday. Fox Sports continuing to buffer Smackdown off of the network signal of Fox, putting them onto cable, putting them into some conflict there, or at least near conflict, with AEW Rampage. AEW Rampage tends to take that number one spot. If they don't have a major sports conflict, they tend to get that number one spot, or at least within that area. Well, this week, they didn't get the number one spot. They didn't get it. They got in the top 5. What are the numbers, Jeremy, of AEW Smackdown and AEW in non-direct competition? But don't let people on the internet argue about it, right? They don't let them not argue about it.
Yeah, let's not talk about it. These are completely 2 different time slots either. But during Friday on cable, NBA took the top 2 spots. Number 3, SmackDown. So SmackDown.
Rick, wake up, Rick.
Sorry.
Rick's falling. He's falling asleep. We're talking about numbers.
Are we still talking about ratings?
Yeah, we're talking about ratings, buddy.
Okay, wake me up when we're done.
Okay. All right.
According to Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, SmackDown drew over 1 million on Friday on FS1, which was up from their 866,000 on the previous week. And Rampage also had an increase at 623,000, which was up from 533. Both of those in the top 5, with SmackDown 3rd overall on cable and Rampage at 5 overall on cable. So both pretty highly successful with the amount of competition they had.
I mean, this is just an example. SmackDown is a show that draws in casual fans. I mean, you're talking about that overall viewership, and now you're talking real margins here. These are not. Oh, they beat him by this much, or they beat him by that. No, they beat him by a significant amount. There was no direct conflict. Oh, well, they won the demo in this 15-minute window. This isn't me apologizing for WWE or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think AEW positions itself to go head-to-head with WWE. I think WWE wants to go head-to-head with them and show that they're number one, and show that they're number one in a certain genre. Rick, your take.
Me and SP3 on Smack Talk a couple weeks ago, when they did that big head-to-head, and AEW, they won when they went head-to-head, and Ruby Soho and the Bunny beat Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, even though they lost by 300,000 viewers overall. I've expressed this. I hate the whole rating system. And Jeremy, this is Kev, you know me from a ratings-driven business. I work in radio full-time. My life is ratings.
I work in radio as well.
Yeah, so, I know. Yeah, I've had to spin the numbers to sell before. This is why I hate working sales. I hate the entire rating system. I don't think that it should be public. Just like I don't think athlete contracts should be public, because all it does is create vitriol and chaos. And I frankly, I don't care about the ratings one iota. I want both companies to do well.
But Rick, let's be frank here. If you're AEW, do you care about those ratings?
See, here's the thing. If you're the companies themselves, yeah, sure, you do.
Mm.
You do, but they should
especially the demo.
Yeah, but even the demo, I will argue against you. All right. You can't sit there and tell me that only money that matters is 18 to 49. Yeah. You can't tell me that with the amount of times I've seen Doug Flutie and Frank Thomas try to sell me dick pills. All right. Those aren't for 19 to 49-year-olds. So you can't sit there and tell me, oh, well, the advertisers really only care about, you're telling me 55-year-old dudes don't go to Burger King? Like, come on, man. The whole
women don't buy these things.
Yeah,
because that's a male demo too.
Sure.
So I mean, that's another thing I think people don't recognize either.
It's just what the network targets and what the network is looking for.
I think these numbers should be used internally for educational purposes and informative purposes, and you can converse them with your advertisers and work.
Don't tell the internet what they don't want to hear
for whatever reason. But I don't think they should be public, because guys, it doesn't matter in my life who has a higher rating. I hope both companies do well, because competition will make a better product for each company, or at least that's the hope.
It matters in the tribalism arguments, because those will never end.
I hate those.
CRC, who's always with us. Thank you, CRC. You're one of our diehards. I appreciate you, buddy. He goes, Rick and Sid's promo against each other 2 weeks ago was fire.
I don't know if it was really a promo. It was more of just an argument, as you always see on Twitter.
Nothing but love. Nothing but love. You know, we're like,
If you want to see more fire, just follow those two on Twitter.
Yeah, we try not to overload the Twitter thing, but there's one thing about Sid, right? He always has to have the last word.
Yes.
And that's what really drives those conversations to go further
Yes.
and further and further and further and further. He also changes his argument mid-argument. So when he's defeated, he starts arguing about something else and then claims that he's winning.
I believe that strategy is called deflection.
Yes. Yeah, he deflects a lot.
So we'll throw one last thing in on those, which is the demo. Both pretty close in the demo. SmackDown did a 0.29 and Rampage did a 0.25.
Cool. Good for I'm glad for them. I'm glad for them.
And I think the better thing about this is that we can say about the genre in general. This isn't me just trying to toe the line and be in between everything here. Is they're up against NBA. So
yeah,
the NBA is really rearing up here.
Yeah,
and
it's pretty cool to see both products increase on the worst night on television with the World Series and the NBA.
Yeah,
and some college football.
And college football and all these different things. And
WWE
it's a good time.
WWE doing over $1 million on FS1 by itself is miraculous, but doing it up against NBA and the World Series, getting bumped for the World Series, that especially when you're talking about a market like Houston being in the World Series, that's a top 5 market. If we want to break down all the demo numbers and everything, that's a win for WWE. It absolutely is. And AEW 10 o'clock at night on a Friday, if they do anything close to those kind of numbers, good for them.
Yeah.
Everybody won. Just calm the hell down.
Yeah, but come on, no, we need to beat someone. Someone needs to.
We need tribalism. We need to argue. It's the internet.
I will argue about how ratings are dumb until the end of time, or arguing about ratings is dumb until the end of time. I'll argue that.
Well, it does seem odd that the internet was really quiet when the brand that they wanted to win or the brand that they wanted to wave a flag for didn't win. So why is everyone not tweeting about these numbers apparently?
We got a super chat from Rick's favorite guy.
Hey, yeah, he wants to go, hey, Rick, he spent $2 to send this message to you, Rick. How about them Bengals?
UC Bearcats #2 in the AP.
Deflection.
And they were struggling with Tulane for a while there for a minute.
I have had I'm not going to go into it. I have had a bad week. All right.
Yeah.
And that did not do me any favor. So I'm not going to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals right now. All right. I'm just not. Oh, by the way, as Jose brings up, here's more deflection. They did those numbers without Roman Reigns on the show.
Yeah.
Ooh, true. Good note. Shout out to Abdullah, who's watching from Qatar. Thank you so much, Abdullah. Shout out if you're watching for the first time. Tell us where you guys are watching from. We love getting all of our international viewers. Thank you to everyone who enjoyed the podcast version of the show, the audio podcast version of the show, charting this past week again in Great Britain, Canada, the United States, the Philippines, and Australia, all in the top 200 on the Apple Wrestling Podcast chart. We were number 3 in all of sports on Philippines Apple Podcast chart. So thank you so much for that. We deeply appreciate it. Yeah,
Kev might be up for mayor in one of those in one of those cities.
I will be happy to run for mayor in a small Philippine town, regional town, small. I'll be a figurehead.
Let's start the campaign.
I want to run for mayor in one of these small towns that where the incumbent is a dog.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
Well, Mr. Ucchino, we aren't really a town. You don't have to run against the dog.
Woof.
I mean, Mr. Whiskers has been our mascot mayor.
I just want to do it for the debate.
I want to run in a town where the incumbent is Kane.
Knox County. There we go. Jeremy Bennett for office here. We got people watching from Springfield, Missouri, loving here. Let's get into this conversation. I got to work a very, very awesome tournament this past weekend, the AAW Jim Lynam Memorial Tournament, Friday and Saturday. A who's who was on this tournament. Mance Warner, fresh out of his contract with MLW. Josh Alexander recently won the MPEC World Championship. Only had it for a little bit, but he had it. All right, we had also Daniel Garcia from AEW on this tournament. It was awesome. And Matt Fitchett won this thing. The gunslinger has assumed his role as top dog in AEW, and this was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. It was a great tournament. Mance Warner on the tournament, even on Saturday, setting up some business down the line with Ring of Honor surprise. He was not scheduled to appear. He was not marketed to appear. Silas Young. So we have a lot of talent from Ring of Honor hitting the market. And one of those talents that hit the market was Danhausen. Danhausen's still under contract with many other Ring of Honor talents through the end of the year. They will do the final battle pay-per-view. All of the talents have been released, and they will do. They've kind of reorganized the company basically as a super indie, and then bring it back. Television not going away. I've learned that from sources at Sinclair Broadcasting that the Sinclair Broadcasting Group still intends to broadcast Ring of Honor Wrestling throughout this entire paused period next year, which was very odd when I got that email today.
Are they going to just load up? Are they just loading up on tapings like Impact
I
used
didn't
to
get
do?
any other details, but I was told Ring of Honor content will continue to air on Sinclair Broadcasting stations at this time through the early part of 2022. There is no change. That is what I was told by someone who has intimate knowledge of the situation. So I was like, oh wow, and I couldn't get any other details, and they said they couldn't say anything else. So I was like, all right, thank you, I appreciate that. And so it's very odd to see that scenario play out here. Now, here's the thing. Guys are hitting the indies really hard. And these guys are already doing it. Danhausen, Mance Warner in the same ring on the same show for Next Gen Wrestling on Halloween both suffer pretty severe leg injuries. I could put them on the shelf for a significant period of time. Give me the details, Jeremy.
First off, on Danhausen, he had tweeted from the hospital on Halloween night that Danhausen has a broken tibia and fibia, and is sure Dave Doctor is trying to take Danhausen's sack some money. If you'd like to help Danhausen,
buy a
t-shirt.
Them.
First curse them. You're cursed. Very nice, very evil. But then curse them. And Mance Warner also was injured at the same event. Let's see here. He was facing a Dirty Dango, who you know as Fandango. And I think Mance's was not confirmed, but possibly a knee injury, but nothing confirmed on that. With Danhausen, tibia and fibia, I mean, it all depends on how it heals. It could be 2 months, it could be longer. So that's kind of up in the air for that. But obviously, with his contract being up, he's a guy that doesn't have to be in the ring. For an Impact or an AEW to sign.
He can do the cut the promos things and be goofy.
He could do the introduction to Danhausen for the people that don't know that he's very nice and very evil.
Wherever he goes, right? He should not wrestle for 3 or 4 months anyway.
Yeah.
It should be a massive buildup. This is a guy who has a major cult following, and like this, like the second that this news broke about, Ring of Honor last week, he was that guy that was popping up all over the place. It says, hey, look, somebody needs to hop on this guy, whether it's WWE, whether it's Impact, whether it's AEW, whomever. I would hope it's not WWE, because let's be honest, WWE, he's going to end up chasing the 24/7 title.
Somebody in the top story,
he can make that into something.
Somebody in the top story chat said that exact same thing last week, that he would just be in the 24/7 chase constantly.
I also think he's one of those guys that can make something like that special. He's a comedic character.
He's got some of his better friends he's got good friends at Impact. He's got good friends at Impact with Cardona and Myers. He's got good friends in AEW with Ethan Page. So I'm thinking it's going to be one of those two. I would think AEW would be, even though you like to say, you hate to say it as the de facto, but
it is a lot of facto.
It is, and it isn't always the answer, because I don't think Braun Strowman's going to go there, but I think Danhausen would fit best in AEW as opposed to Impact, because he's already got a cult following, and he could just explode that popularity with being on national television, a bigger range as opposed to what Impact has right now.
Yeah.
It's also worth noting about Mance Warner here. This is a guy who's been wanted out of his MLW deal publicly since December. He's finally out of it, and then has this injury like a couple of days later.
Yeah, and they does he still have the tag titles in GCW, or did the Briscoes take them?
Briscoes have those titles.
Okay, so yeah, him and Injustice were the tag champs in GCW. So
yeah, it'll be an interesting scenario to see how these talents fall. I can tell you from being in a locker room with a lot of people that wrestle for major televised companies, I'm not off the record conversations, this was the talk of the business. And I was told this will be the talk of the business well into the first part of next year.
Oh yeah, I've already seen ROH wrestlers get into it with random fans, which I'm surprised they even acknowledge some of these people. But like I've seen Shane Taylor get into it with some people. I've seen I can't remember who else, but I saw Shane Taylor was one I saw first off. But there's a lot of talent in that that was in that locker room that has, that is very young. Jonathan Gresham is probably the top talent in there. Danhausen's probably the biggest overall draw in terms of marketability. Then you got guys like Shane Taylor. You got veterans like Jay Lethal. So
not even them. You talk about the major Latin American talents you have in there, and Rouge, Bandito. Bandito already lined up some big dates here. You have a lot of people. They're going to be getting a lot of offers at them coming up here. A
lot of people might want to pair him up with Andrade.
Yeah, go ahead, Rick. Get in there, buddy.
Don't forget the revamped women's division. Like they brought in Maria Kanellis, and she completely revamped this thing. They just crowned a 19-year-old, Ring of Honor women's champion. First time they've had that belt in over a year. And they did a great job assembling all this talent in the women's division. And now they're free as well.
Yeah, because like I know Sean Ross Sapp has reported that AEW had talks with Roxy recently before the deal.
She was brought in potentially to do some extra work. And then once a Ring of Honor deal happened, then they were approached directly about a deal. And so when everyone says, AEW's, no, they work the same way. Oh, they're going to sign them up. Then we got to get them too. Let's see if we can get an offer in there. I just did a video today. This will be dropping this week about people that Triple H tried to get deals with before they went somewhere else. And it's kind of entertaining in a sense of what could have been, so I think it's now what is going to be, what is going to happen with the Briscoes? Are they going to be an act that shows up in AEW? What is going to happen with a Shane Taylor, who I think would be custom made for the WWE? I think he'd be a perfect big man to work in WWE in that style. A Roxy, who 19 years old, has that title around her waist, proverbially could be the last ROH women's champion for the foreseeable future. And then what happens to Ring of Honor after this? They say they're going to relaunch in April. A lot of people are holding themselves to that. I can tell you from talking to people at Sinclair, there is intentions for this to still remain on the air. And they have a lot of content. They have a lot of content that they can still air this with. And then we hear the tape libraries up for sale. So where is that going to land?
That's the thing that makes me go, okay, but if they're putting up their entire tape library up for the, up to the highest bidder, that doesn't sound to me that that's a company that plans on coming.
Yeah, but I mean, if they have the broadcast rights to this thing, that could be different. They could be just streaming rights. Also, it's worth noting, why did this happen now? Ring of Honor did the honorable thing, for lack of a better phrase, by employing people through the pandemic and paying them their full contracts, running no shows, running no pay-per-views, running no fans. They were the first ones to do quarantining and testing. AEW was doing testing, but it's unclear whether or not they were quarantining people. WWE was soon following suit by that. And, did what was the right thing, and they did it. So, but ROH was the first to do that and paid people and paid them the full contract.
Ring of Honor did a lot of things right during the pandemic. And it's an unfortunate that, at the end of the tunnel, this is what happens.
Let's jump right into it. It is The Rock's 25th anniversary month of his debut in WWE. WWE rolling this out here on social media this week, beginning a month-long celebration of everything The Rock. Of course, they're pushing this as a big push here for Peacock, and it's another reminder of just how much WWE has. If you want to see anything with The Undertaker, you got to go to WWE. If you want to see The Rock, Austin, you got to go to WWE. And of course, a lot of people think this leads to something at Survivor Series, which is a few weeks away. And there was many mixed reports that The Rock will be a part of it. Now it seems like that's not going to happen, or it's up in the air. He'll be filming Young Rock, the second season of his NBC show, also in the NBC family here with Peacock. He'll be doing that in Australia. There is talks that The Rock will have some, whether physical or non-physical, pre-taped something on Survivor Series.
Now, speaking of a month-long satellite.
Yeah. What do you think of Rock Vember? Rock Vember. What do you think of Rock Vember, dude? What do you think?
First off, they should just rename the entire network P-Rock for the next month. I think that's what they should do. Change the logo just to the silhouette of this, and just mix all the colors in there. No, look, if you can't get The Rock for Survivor Series, this is the perfect way to do it. You have this platform on it. This is a guy that everybody loves, the most electrifying man in all of sports entertainment. This is a guy who's still beloved. A lot of younger generations know him more as an actor than they do a wrestler these days. So it'd be a nice way of having a Rock feature. I would hope that they do this on, have a feature on Raw and on SmackDown and on NXT every week, and just kind of remind
moments, just fun moments, just reminding you.
Reminding you how great the great one truly was and how bad the current product actually is. At the same time.
Jeremy, what do you think?
I think
it doesn't matter what you think, Jeremy. I'm sorry, I had to. Somebody had to take
set that up on
somebody had to take. Somebody had to get one. All right, get in there, Jeremy.
No, I think it's great because I mean this is where The Rock debuted. Is Survivor Series 25 years ago with that baby face that everybody hated, which then hey, it turned into better things at least, and so we'll see 25 years of those better things. I honestly, with The Rock's schedule, I honestly don't think they're setting up Reigns this year. I think they're going to save it for Hollywood.
Yeah, he's been wishy-washy about that. Reigns has talked about it in the press a handful of times and has alluded. I think it'd be better if we did it in LA the next year. But they got it. They've done the year-to-year thing with The Rock, and he's a big enough name where you could tease it a year out. They did it before, and it proved to be big box office for them. As much as people were very critical of WWE doing that, the 2011 and 2012 time was a big boom for WWE. And Rock being there was a huge part of that. And him coming back to his audience and saying, I want to remind you that I'm a wrestling star again is a big part of it. It is a match you have to do it. It is a match I think people have anticipated too long. It's been alluded to too many times. You've built up this bloodline thing. You've built up this family thing. Can you keep Roman Reigns that hot that long, though? I think that's worth questioning here. Can you keep the title on him into 2023 without fans just giving up on it?
It doesn't need the title. That match doesn't need
it. Doesn't need the title though. No, but I mean, keep the title on him as the tribal chief. Keep him that hot. Keep him that anticipated.
Well, they don't really have a choice because there's nobody on SmackDown who's taking that belt off of him anytime soon. The only guy they have in the entire roster right now that can even challenge him on SmackDown is Drew McIntyre, and they are slowly starting to put some wins back on him because heading into SmackDown, heading into the draft, he was losing. Match after match after match. He's one of those big wins that Big E just had a few minutes ago. So they got to rebuild up Drew McIntyre here a little bit. They got the Survivor Series pay-per-view before he's going to have to defend the title again. So he's not going to have to defend the title until day one, New Year's Day in Atlanta. So they have time to build up a new challenger for him. But I don't see anybody on the SmackDown roster that's taking that belt away from him anytime soon. No. But the risk you run here of not doing this matchup, if you can do it, which it's probably not going to happen. It seems like they're setting up for Roman versus Brock Lesnar. The thing you run into here is the longer you put it off, the more risk you take of this bad boy never happening. You best laid plans. If this goes down at WrestleMania 39, which would be in Hollywood, right? So we got 38 coming up in Dallas, 39's in Hollywood. The Rock will be 50 at that point. Now, granted, The Rock is still in fantastic shape. He's in better shape now than he was in the ring. But we've heard Kurt Angle talk about this. When Kurt Angle took time away from being in the ring,
it was the worst thing for him.
It was the worst thing for him. Your body starts to solidify, right? Like he said, he wasn't as flexible. He couldn't move as well. It's like his body just turned into hell. I talked to John Moxley a few weeks ago. This is a guy who actually competes every week. He has to do an hour warm-up routine just to loosen up his body so he can go out there and wrestle because he's that banged up. John Moxley ain't anywhere near as old as The Rock right now. So it would be really, really tough for The Rock to come in here and put on one of those classic Rock show-stopping matchups. Now, a guy like Roman Reigns could carry him here for a little bit, but then we're talking about same kind of thing with what we were talking about with The Undertaker. Do you really want The Rock to come back and put on a match that leaves a bad taste in your mouth?
Yeah.
He's not a guy who would want to expose himself like that.
Yeah.
And then who knows? Maybe he gets another big movie deal and then he can't do it in 2023. And then you're like, what? All right, well, we'll see you when you're 55, I guess. I don't know.
Anthony has a question. Kevin, do you see all four members of Shane Taylor Promotions? That's a big faction in ROH. Getting signed at the same time, or just Shane Taylor and the Khan brothers? I don't know. These people are going to be divvied up quite a bit. You know, a lot of people are going to go different places. This is going to be a huge injection. Also, you see a lot of these talents on the independents. If you are not going to independent wrestling shows, you should start soon. I'm not saying I see a big boom in independent wrestling, but I can tell you from being at shows this weekend, people want to go. They want to buy multiple tickets. They want to buy merch. They want to see big TV stars mix with all those underground stars. They want a mixture of different talent. You throw a bunch of ROH talent on shows like this, that's going to happen as well. Gentlemen, we're going to be quite busy here. They can follow you all on the Twitter machines at Rick Ucchino, at JB Huskers for Jeremy. You can follow me at Kev Kellam.
We had the thing.
We had the thing. Where's the thing? Where's the thing here? Throw the thing up here.
There we are.
There
it is. With the
yeah, and if you haven't done it already, go ahead and follow as well. You can follow at SK Wrestling _. We're on Snapchat. We got a pretty popular Snapchat right now. Instagram as well. Check out our content there as well. Subscribe to the podcast. All those good things. Join us tonight after Monday Night Raw. What is Vince Russo gonna say, bro? He's going to have a lot to say, and you're going to be able to watch it live. It's going to be tonight after Monday Night Raw, or catch it on demand in the podcast feed or on the YouTube channels. All those good things here. Let's jump right into it here. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the show. Enjoy what else, gentlemen?
Tribalism, bro.
Enjoy tribalism. How about you enjoy wrestling, period?
Yeah.
Yeah.